Welcome back to the Side Street Auto channel, guys. My name is Mike. Today we're going to be installing an 8-gang Auxbeam switch panel inside of my 5th gen 4Runner. We're going to be using an OE panel interior mount for the switches themselves, as well as the Overland equipped engine bay fuse block bracket. I painted it textured black just to make it look a little bit nicer and protect the metal on it. And the fuse block is going to be going onto that, as well as the breaker switch from Auxbeam. And I'm going to show you how I wired it up, how I mounted the interior bracket, as well as the engine bay bracket. And let's get to it. Let's head to the truck and I'll show you how I did it. All right, so we're here in the engine bay. So basically all we need to do is connect positive, negative, switched power, and then run the cable into the cabin for the switches themselves. I mounted the fuse block already onto the bracket, and I connected the fuse block onto the breaker underneath here, as you can see. So now all we have to do is mount it up, run the wires, connect everything, and then we'll go inside the car and mount the OE panels with the switches itself. All right, so one of the great things about this Overland equipped bracket is that it does come with hardware, and this hardware is going to be using the OEM mounting points in the engine bay, and I'll show you that right now. So we're going to be using these two holes right here, as well as these two holes right here. All right, so the way I'm going to approach this is I'm going to send these two cables to this side of the bracket going into the cabin because I have to go through the firewall, and then I'm going to send the negative and this positive on this side. That way I can go to the ground strap here and the positive terminal here. And I'm not going to mount the bracket yet until everything is kind of seated where it needs to go and it's looking good, and then I will secure the bracket down. And before I continue any further, I am going to disconnect the battery just to work a little bit safer. And just an extra precaution to prevent any sparking, little painter's tape, simple. I'm gonna route the wires, make them look a little clean. I'm gonna go underneath some stuff over here on the side of the fuse box, factory fuse box. So that'll be around that area. And then for the ground, I'm gonna go underneath. You know, let me just switch up the camera. So for the ground, I'm gonna go underneath this bracket here on the side. And then kind of wrap it back around. I think that's where I want it to sit. So you're gonna take your 10mm, take your ground strap off of here. And I already had a ground terminal for my grill lights on here, which will no longer be needed because I have this. What the hell was that? So you're gonna take your original ground bolt and the strap, put that on, and then just add your ground terminal for the fuse block right onto it. Tighten it down, make it snug, don't kill it. You don't wanna strip this bolt. It's not the end of the world, but it's just a headache for no reason. All right, so we got the ground strap on. Now we gotta feed this thing power. So we're gonna connect the positive terminal onto the constant battery, positive battery terminal. I'm going from this angle because with that, this cover will allow it to go in no problem, and it's not gonna wanna pinch it or anything. So you're gonna take a 12mm, loosen this, put that on, tighten it up, and that's it. Again, the painter's tape just helps so that way I'm not like worried about accidentally touching the terminal and causing a spark and scaring myself. So 12mm, take this nut off, make sure you don't lose it. Put it right there, somewhere safe. I feel like that might fall, so I'm gonna put it right there. And then connect your positive, and it doesn't fit. All right, so here's just a little side note for you guys. I had to drill out the terminal a little bit because it wasn't fitting onto the original battery terminal. So now I can continue. Put this back where it was. Add that to where it's supposed to go. Make sure that gets all the way down on there. Take your nut, put it on. Make sure you tighten this down very well. I'm gonna actually use a pair of pliers just to hold the terminal area while I tighten it so I can get a proper torque onto it. Okay, now that that is on there and tight, I'm gonna take the positive off, put that back on there. You're gonna hear a little spark. Don't be too afraid. Oh God, tighten your battery back up because you don't wanna leave that loose ever. And I'm just gonna give this one last snug. Take your cover, slap your cover on, and you can see that it is able to come out of the side right here and not be impeded by it at all. All right, so everything is ran for positive and negative. Now we just need to send the wires into the cabin. Just a quick side note for you guys. I know I said I mounted it, but I didn't really show the mounting process. So I did have to drill an extra hole here and an extra hole for the breaker switch because this bracket isn't designed for this fuse block, but with very little modifications, you can make it work, as you can see here. And then on the back, there is a giant, there's a giant oval, and as you can see, the fuse block isn't really able to get bolted onto there. So what I did was I designed a little bracket to go here and act as like a washer, and that will basically hold in this side of it so that the entire thing is secured down. So another reason why I don't like to put the bracket on right away is because I did have to flip it over in order to get access to the boot. The boot needs to have a little hole in it for these two wires to go through, so that way we can wire up the switches and tap into switched power, because for some reason there is no ignition switched power in this fuse box. I checked every fuse I have. There's nothing in there that does it for me. Let me know if you guys have another solution for that. But I'm gonna be running it into the fuse box that's underneath the steering wheel, under the dash, and tapping into ignition power from there. All right, so coming into the truck, you can see the boot is right there, and I cut a tiny little hole into it right there. Not even, it's like a slit, it's not even a hole. So I'm gonna feed the snake through there, connect the wires onto it, and then pull them through. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that was a super satisfying little pop. So I'm just gonna tape this onto the snake and pull everything through, all the slack. This might be a little overkill, but I don't feel like doing it again. And when you're putting it through the boot, you might have to help it out just a little bit, so that way it doesn't come off the snake. As you guys can see, we got the wires through. I'm just gonna leave the slack right there for now. Okay, so coming in here to mount the bracket up, I noticed that there wasn't enough space to slip the top bolts in the way I mounted this. So you're gonna have to take the fuse block out, feed these bolts in first, just let them hang out there, and then tighten your block back up, and then you can go ahead and put your bracket on. You might have to go back and forth with the lower ones if they are rusted like mine were, but that's it. That is the final product. I will get the cover real quick and we can see what it's gonna look like. Look at that, guys. Beautiful. Nice and low key. If anything happens, you flip your switch breaker switch. I am going to come over here and just zip tie the wires that go into the cabin, just to make them look a little bit neater. So the beauty of this product is that it has positive and negative right there. So all you have to do is run whatever accessories you want, run your red and black most likely, to this, tap into whichever fuse amp you want, and then tighten it down, and you can turn it on and off with your switches. It's awesome. Super, super versatile. It looks so good in there. It looks OEM almost. Like, how can you beat that? Maybe we'll get a Side Street Auto sticker right there just to make it ours, but for now, I love it. Okay, so this is the coolest product of the entire install, in my opinion. It is from OE Panels, as you can see here. It is a direct replacement for the factory trim. You remove this trim part and replace it with this. You can still use your factory mirror adjuster and the dimmer switch as well. I'm gonna have to move the blank over, and I think I'm gonna have to get a couple more blanks because I don't have all of these. But look how nice that panel is. And I just have this temporarily in here, but it is such a tight fit. Like, look at that. Look at that. I can't even, I don't know what material this is, but OE Panels, hit me up, guys, because I want to work with you. This is such a cool product to me. It needs to be on everyone's 4Runner. So let's go ahead and take this out, put this one in. Okay, so you're gonna come over here to your trim panel. I am going to pull back on the seal a little bit, the door seal actually, and then just come over here and pull it out. And there's 2 plugs on mine. As you can see, 2 plugs. And then all of these yellow clips are gonna have to get transferred, as well as the plugs. All right, so to get the yellow clips off, you're actually gonna have to pry both sides of the clip. So I could probably show you on this one. So I'm gonna use my finger on one side, and then this, and it almost just hit the camera, but you can see that it's gone. Careful, watch your eyes. Okay, so I got all the yellow tabs out. Now we're going to take the blanks out, as well as the actual switches. And that looks like you just pry on these tabs here. Yep. Just pry on that tab, and it'll slide right out. That's my dimmer. And just follow suit with your mirror adjuster and whatever else you have. All right, guys, now that is your OEM panel completely stripped. All right, so we're gonna transfer everything over to the new one, and then slip your wire in. And that fits so snug, guys. It's so nice. There are a couple of holes underneath here if you did want to screw the switch down. I don't think I would need to. I think I'm just gonna leave it like that. But if you tried to fit it in as it is right now, it's not gonna work. There's actually this nub, whatever you wanna call this piece right here. This needs to go. Now that you got everything gone, I'm going to put the wire down where I see fit. I'm gonna plug in the mirror and the dimmer switch and push it all in, I think. All right, I just wanted to take you guys off the tripod and show you what this looks like. It's a little miscolored, but it's not terrible in person. And then the last step is to take the plug from the engine bay and plug it into the switches above and run your ignition to a fuse in here. So I tapped into that one right before the 7.5 there. I can show you on here, it is that 10 amp ignition. So now, when we hit the key ignition on, ooh, look at that. We have light, and it is working. Now, I did plug in an example test piece. This is a spare grill light I had. I just temporarily plugged it into one of the buttons. I'm gonna say that is number 6, maybe. So we come to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. It's on. Off. On. Now, I know it looks a little strange with just blue lights here, but don't worry, Auxbeam actually supplies a bunch of name cards. All right, so this is what I was talking about. This actually comes in the package with these switches. So it has all these different types of lights that you can have, plus 5 blanks right there. Cool thing is that it actually has grill light option right there in the middle there, if you can see it. So I'm gonna be definitely hooking up my grill lights onto this, as well as maybe a light bar in the future, possibly rock lights, maybe ditch lights, but the possibilities are pretty endless with this. Final thoughts on this. I absolutely love the Auxbeam system here. It's gonna help clean up all the wires in the engine bay. It's gonna be so nice when I add lighting and accessories to this thing. The OE panel mount, flawless. I mean, the color is a little different, but who cares, right? I mean, it's an Overland build at the end of the day. So as long as it works and it looks somewhat decent, I'll take it. I'm gonna include all the links to the products that I use down below. If you found this video helpful or entertaining at all, please like and subscribe to the channel. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Why do you have tape on your back?
Do I have tape on my back? These are all things you're supposed to